Alright guys, my name is Andy Mokolo and today I'm going to talk to you about something I wish somebody had told me years back when I graduated from the university. So after I finished my NYSC, I got a banking job and everything was going fine until in February 2016 I got a text message saying my services were no longer required. It was heartbreaking. I felt at the point that I was beginning to build my career as a successful banker, and when I was laid off, I just felt like my whole world had crumbled. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to figure out how I was going to earn more money, right? Even when I didn't have a job. So that was when I started thinking about something called income models, right? So at the time when I was a banker, I was operating with one model, which is number one, 30 days per month, right? I was going to do my job as a banker for them. I'm not going to mention the name of the bank for personal reasons. I was going to do my job as a banker here for that branch, and at the end of 30 days, I was going to get my salary. Now, there is nothing wrong with having a job and earning a salary, as long as, one, you enjoy your job, two, you are being paid what you are worth. There is no problem with that. The only thing that a lot of people overlook is that your earning capacity is limited, right? Now, if you are fine with your monthly salary, I think that this is something you can easily operate with, right? And not have any regrets. But another thing you want to consider is, what if there is a sudden economic depression like what we saw during the pandemic, and there are massive job cuts, there are massive salary cuts, people lose their jobs, people are having their salaries cut in half? What do you do at this point? You find that you are stressed financially because you are relying on an income model that you don't control, right? Now, let's look at the second option, number two, which is basically you putting yourself in a position where even if you have a job that pays you every month, you still know that you have a second income stream that brings you money every week. Now, your earning capacity is flexible, right? You are not under a lot of financial stress or pressure. So even if for some reason you lose your job, God forbid, or your salary is cut in half, or something just happens that affects your salary, you are not under a lot of pressure because you know that there is a secondary source of income that you have. Flexible. You have something that brings you money every week. We'll get into how to go about this much later. But first, let's talk about number three. So let's say you have a job, or you don't even have a job, but you have something that brings you money every day. At least a certain amount of money comes into your account every day. Now, this is really very flexible because you can hit a certain income mark before the end of the month, and you can say, okay, that's it for this month. I want to take the rest of the month off. Very, very flexible. Now, there's one more option, right, which is what a number of people I know operate with. I've operated with that model in the past year, but now I've picked just one model, which I'm going to talk to you about later. But let's say you have a job, right, and then you have a source of income that brings you money every day, every week, right? Which is 1 plus 2 plus 3. That gives us the fourth income model. So even if you have a job, you still have, so let's say you earn like 200K every month, right? And you still have on the side something that brings you, let's say, an extra 200K every month. So which is like, if you break it down into 4 weeks, you have like 50K every week, right? Now you are not under any sort of pressure whatsoever. In Nigeria, if you are earning over 400K every month, you are doing well financially, right? And you are not under a lot of worry as per, oh, is the economy getting worse or is it getting better? You are not under as much pressure as the person who simply earns a certain amount of money from the 30-day income model. Yeah? So how do you put yourself in a position of absolute control where you are not worried that if something happens, then you are going to have to start struggling from scratch again? How do you get yourself into this position, which is the position I believe everybody serious about becoming financially independent should get into as fast as possible? So the answer is very, very simple. Solve problems. This is how millionaires and billionaires and trillionaires are made. Solve problems, but not just any kind of problem. Solve a problem that has a massive market, something that a lot of people are struggling with, right? Let me give you an example. So you know that a lot of Nigerians want to relocate abroad. So some of these countries are Canada, US, Australia, right? To name a few. So some of these people have issues getting their visas approved. That's a huge problem for a lot of people. Another thing they struggle with is this test called IELTS, right? They struggle with it, and it's a very, very crucial requirement. For some countries, if you don't have it, you don't get in. Now, let's say you know how to help people pass this test, or you know how to help them get their visas approved without having to write that test. If you come in with that solution, a lot of people are going to be willing to pay you as much as 30,000 to help them solve that problem. I've seen people who wanted to relocate abroad paying as much as 500,000, and at the end of the day, they didn't get what they wanted. Yeah, but what if you had a solution to that problem, and you came in and you explained it in a very simple way that resonated with these people, and then they begin to believe and trust that you can help them, and eventually you help them, and they pay you some amount of money in exchange. Now, multiply one person by 30,000. That gives you 30,000, right? Now, imagine solving that problem for 1,000 people. Do the math and see how much that gives you. Are you beginning to see that when you put yourself in a position where you are helping people solve problems, you have a lot of flexibility as per how much you can earn every day, every week, every month? You are no longer in a position where you are constrained or where your earning capacity is limited. So the real question now is, how do you find problems that you can help people solve? It is really very simple. And here's why. All you have to do is look around you. What are people complaining about? Now, not just what anybody's complaining about, but what are a lot of people complaining about? When you go on Facebook groups, when you go to YouTube to watch a video and you're reading the comments, when you go to Nairaroad, when you go to Twitter or Instagram, what are people complaining about? What are they saying that they need a solution for? When you find a problem like that, the next thing you want to do is figure out how to help them solve that problem. And in return, they are going to pay you, because once people find a solution that they are desperate to get, and you can prove to them that your solution works, you are going to make a lot of money, right? I know, because this is the kind of business I do. So when you find your solution, there are two ways you can sell it to people: either as a service, right, or as a product. It doesn't really matter how you decide to present your solution. What matters is you are presenting a solution to people to help them solve a problem that keeps them up at night, something they can't stop thinking about. So this is how you go about creating an income model that gives you a huge earning capacity. So whether you have a job or not, it doesn't really matter, right? If you have a job, you can keep your job and still be doing something like this on the side, right? So if you are going to sell solutions to pressing problems as a service, you can become a freelancer, right? You control your time, you help people, and these people are generally called clients, right? They come to you, you help them solve their problems, and they pay you a nice amount of money in exchange for your services, right? If it is a product, you can go into something called e-commerce, or aka mini importation, right? So you get products that help people solve problems, maybe a posture corrector that helps people get rid of back pains and all of that, and they're happy to pay you because this is a legit solution to a problem they're struggling with. So this is how it really works. It is really, really very simple, right? And all you have to do is start by looking out for problems that you can help people solve. Once you figure that out, the next thing is to find how to build a business around the solution to that very problem. Remember, your business can be a service or a product. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave comments below and look out for my next video.